Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. You can see little medicine ball showed up over there. I haven't showed it in the past because I just always kicked it away, but it always seems to make its way back. Today's video is going to be about a snowstorm. Now this thing has so much uncertainty, so much potential to go anywhere, but it does seem to have a snowy side, and where it does produce snow, there will be a lot of it. Where that sets up is unknown, but I'll be talking about that, going over kind of what I think. And again, a lot of uncertainty. This thing seems to though be the biggest storm of the season east of the Mississippi. So we've seen big storms across the upper plains, but this is the first big storm east of the Mississippi. You can see my hair is a bit messy today. I mean, it always is messy, doesn't really have a structure to it. But I was writing an essay and I was like pulling at it. No, I wasn't pulling, I was just like playing with it, kind of like straightening it. It was like a 5-page essay, but I'll be talking to you guys now, so it's gonna be my therapy. Before we get any further, I do want to say one more thing. If you guys seem to enjoy this content, you like what I do on here, consider checking out the other videos and check out the channel. If you like it, consider subscribing, and if you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be awesome. Also, there is this new feature. I think it's been a while, or it's been around for a while. It says join in blue letters next to the subscribe button, and that's basically if anyone would like to support this channel, you could drop $1 or $2, and it's like a monthly donation that you could give. Supports the channel. Again, I am 100% happy with a like or even just a view. So let's get into this. So quickly, let's go over the snowfall totals with this system that we were talking about yesterday. Again, I think that the models did a pretty good job. Notice there were some higher mounts across Missouri. There was quite a variation across Illinois. You could see Aurora got 3 inches, and then just to the west it was 7/10, 8/10. But really, that was the nature of this system. It was pocketed in terms of the snow bands. Once were heavier, at times they were very light, and when they were light, the ice nucleation often led to just a mist and drizzle, and only during the heavier bands of precip did it snow. That's what I observed in my location yesterday. Notice that there were some locations again reporting almost 4 or 5 inches across the La Crosse area, and then just south of there, look, 1/10 of an inch, 4/10 of an inch, and now it is slowly starting to spread into Michigan. We are seeing amounts in Manistee, Michigan, 2 inches, and if I were to show you the radar, it is starting to become pretty blue across this state. It will transition mostly to rain, but I think we could have a potential, or people in Michigan in the glove, if you will, the mitch, not the thumb, will be seeing potentially up to 4 or 5 inches. That's definitely not out of the question. And let's start talking about that big storm. Alright, so as promised, I would show you the radar. Notice that the snow is pulling away from that Wisconsin area, so basically it's done across these locations. But look at this, Michigan, Detroit really just transitioned into that rain, moving into portions of southern Canada. Sault Ste. Marie is going to see a little bit out of this as well, if it hasn't already. Notice that this is a bit unorganized, right? Like a Chicago, Iowa, Wisconsin. I'll show you the plains in a bit, or Ohio, Indiana. It's been on and off. A batch of rain comes, a batch of rain goes. Same thing with the snow. Notice a lot of these locations under the winter weather advisory have been seeing snow since around 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so 2 to 3 o'clock Eastern time, and they continue to see snow with minimal rain to snow transition. The snow continues to fall pretty heavily, and I think it will continue to do so. As you can see, there's more moisture downstream, more moisture available. And notice we have a very, very, very moisture-filled storm. Notice this thing has a huge batch of moisture across Missouri and Illinois. This thing is going to ride towards the north and east, but over time transition more towards an eastward direction as the low pressure really speeds off. Notice we do have some thunderstorms, and we do have a pretty strong snowband in Kansas going on right now. In terms of snowfall amounts, I don't think they have reported any across Kansas, but there was quite a bit across the mountains, to say the least. Okay, enough of that. I know you guys want to hear me talk about this big winter storm. Okay, so this is where the fun begins, alright? We could be looking at a giant system now. Again, the uncertainty about this is pretty high. Just yesterday, the thing is, why this system is so weird is the European even jumps around. It got so excited about the storm and turned into a GFS. I mean, it literally has been varying more than the GFS, the European. But it has now kind of zeroed in on a track, and let's see what it does. So notice, this is the first storm. It continues raining into much of Wednesday, kind of the most traveled day it used to be before Thanksgiving. I think it will be obviously this year as well, but maybe a bit considerable less, especially with what's been going on. And if we take a look, notice the Northeast does see a bit of rain out of this, but it really loses a lot of its vigor. Notice that it initially does transition some of that snow into rain, especially into Wednesday as that warm air pushes up to the north, but not before dropping maybe up to 5-6 inches. And then this is where things get really interesting. We see a northern piece of energy come into British Columbia. We do see a bit of snow still kind of floating around into Quebec, Ontario. Nothing of significance or really anything compared to what they saw just a few days ago with that large beast. We also start seeing moisture rise from the south, from the Gulf of Mexico. We see a low pressure moving from northern Mexico, the mountains of northern Mexico, and this thing already has a lot of moisture. It sits there for a while, kind of dwells, if you will. There's a high pressure which kind of keeps it at bay. All high pressures spin clockwise, so the winds are kind of steering this moisture, keeping it at bay, while this system moves further and further to the east, and pretty much they align almost perfectly with each other. And notice this is what happens. We start seeing very, very heavy rain across the south, really as early as Saturday morning and into late Friday evening. Some snow across the Texas Panhandle and into northern New Mexico, right? But then notice what we see here. We see a rising, a pretty already developed low pressure at around late Sunday evening. And as we push into Cyber Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving, a lot of holiday deals will be up. Many people will be staying home. You can see lots of rain, maybe a bit of mixing. That's questionable. These two systems start phasing. We start seeing moisture develop, mainly in a form of rain. But notice, again, there's a lot of details, a lot of track and timing differences. But look what this model does. This model just takes the storm and develops it into a huge, huge system. The biggest one of the season by far across the eastern United States in terms of its snow potential. And we've had pretty large storms across the west and the northwest and the plains. And even, the one we saw in the northeast, but that was really into southern Canada. But this one could be across more southern locations and, say, Illinois, Indiana. So I'm not going to keep you waiting. Look at this. Monday, 7 o'clock in the morning, we already start seeing very heavy snow transition from that rain. Again, I'm speaking about this like if this track is determined. It's not, and unfortunately that's what's kind of fun but also annoying. We have a high pressure, according to this model run, a high pressure centered right across western Ontario. This is driving winds and creating most likely blizzard conditions. Even if the snow isn't falling, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, all seeing very strong winds. Very well developed low pressure, some severe weather. And notice as this tracks up to the north, we see lots of sleet, snow, lots of rain across the northeast. And again, if you live across Ohio, Pennsylvania, the track may still change and probably will. It may bring buckets and loads of snow across Ohio and Pennsylvania versus Wisconsin and Illinois. So notice right now the European, it takes this storm and keeps it trapped across the Michigan and Bay Area, kind of across southern Canada. And basically lots of rain across the northeast, very, very strong winds, howling winds, and pretty intense snow occurring across the Midwest. This thing then continues to wrap for the next 3 days across the Midwest, across Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and finally moves away, but gives way to another storm, which you can see brings snow further to the east, so more locations get an impact. Let's just take a look at what the total snowfall accumulations this model shows. And again, don't get too excited. This would be a pretty big storm if it were to occur. Confidence is pretty high in heavy snow mounts across British Columbia and into the northwest. That will be associated with that first wave, that's that upper northern wave, which then the second southern wave phases with in order to form that blizzard. And then notice we start seeing the snow pretty well flourish. First Michigan, Indiana, then pushing into Illinois, Wisconsin. There is going to be a sharp cutoff where exactly this sets up is going to be obviously a pretty close call. And Again, this may shift further and further to the east or west. This may shift even further to the west or maybe more to the south. Some models are indicating even snow getting into portions of Tennessee and upper Mississippi. So, and then notice we start seeing a second storm develop. So already more snow than we've been seeing. Now let's take a look at the total precipitation. Total accumulated amounts. And again, we've been seeing lots of snow across the upper plains and kind of the northwestern United States here. Now it seems to be more focused across the Great Lakes or this next storm potential. You know, each storm could take a different track. And notice, in terms of rain, this is what's still to come from this ongoing storm. A good amount of locations seeing an inch or two. And then we see that second system, which just brings copious amounts of snow. And combined with that third one, possibly record amounts of... Did I say snow? Sorry. Rain. Really heavy rain where the snow doesn't fall. And obviously where the snow does fall, look at that, 2.67. If it's cold enough, you know, 2.75, the 10 to 20 snowfall ratio would indicate 20 inches of snow. And again, that's, well, some of the amounts we're showing across portions of Michigan. You could see 18, 19. So again, this is just mainly a speculation, but I mean, it's not horrendously far out. It's in the 130 to 150 hour time frame, around 4 to 5, 6 days. So yes, a lot of stuff changes, but it's definitely starting to get close, right? Let's take a glance at some other models, or let's just show you what the European showed 24 hours ago. This is what it showed. Nothing. It took a little bit of a storm track across Virginia, and it swept the storm way further out. And this is the thing, the model run before that, on midnight, it showed more snow, right? Then it stopped showing snow, and then the midnight of this past night, it started showing more snow again. Not as much as it shows now, but it's on, you know, it definitely began to. While many people don't like the GFS and accuse it of being a bit jumpy, and while that does have its truth, for this scenario this time around, the GFS has been more consistent. It originally did what the European showed, taking the storm way out to the eastern United States off the coast. But then, as time came by and the last couple of days occurred, it shifted it further and further to the east. And let me show you what the noon model run did, and then I'll show you what the one that just came out a few hours ago is showing. So precipitation type and rate. Let's go to the GFS and take a glance at this. Again, this first system moving away from the United States, delivering a bit of that cold air. And again, we have that southern moisture, that northern piece. The GFS does a very similar thing to what the European does. Notice this northern piece is moving quick. It just sends it across the United States, the northern United States. We start seeing moisture formulate across the southeastern and southern United States. A bit further centered towards the south and east. The GFS has had a eastward, more eastward favored track, but it has been trending westward. And the difference between that is, well, it's been showing pretty far east scenario, but it's been getting closer and closer with each model run towards the west. You know, closer to, I don't know, closer to what? You may go so far to the west, it may be affecting Minnesota. You know, I mean, this storm is kind of unknown. Notice, it starts developing snow instead of across Illinois. It developed across Kentucky, Ohio. And again, this is one model one that's a bit older, but I just want to show you the differences. So regardless, it showed a beast of a system and lots of snow. And then in the future, it did show a potential for more storms. A very large storm, a strong storm. And if you were to take a look at the total snowfall accumulations with this model run that is a bit older than the newest one I will show you in just a minute from the same model. Still, really large amounts of snow. Erie, Pennsylvania. I know I do have some viewers from Erie. Look at that. You would be possibly getting up to 2 feet of snow with this. So yeah, that would be a large event. Now, let me show you what the GFS is showing with the newest model run, the 18Z. Will this change? For sure. How much will this change? It's not really known. So with the snowfall amounts, let's just first show you the snowfall amounts. It centers them further to the west. Now it centers them more across Indiana, Ohio, not really Illinois. Further to the south, you can see even portions of Kentucky getting in on some of that snow. Right there, a 30-inch event right there. So that would be just ridiculous. And even portions of Chicago would still be in for 6 to 8 inches. Milwaukee again on that cutoff. Green Bay on that cutoff. Peoria central Illinois, southern Illinois, kind of on that cutoff. This would be just a really bad situation in terms of the cutoff. Cleveland, kind of right south of that. So a lot of stuff to get figured out and zoned out. And this is what the latest GFS model shows. If I were to show you the precipitation type and rate, the main difference is that this low pressure, the southern piece, waits a bit longer. So you can see that northern piece, again, speeding across, but this low pressure, I said it waits a bit. It moves up to the north a bit quicker. The high pressure isn't as strong, so it shifts. Instead of taking a track, it kind of rotates around here. Instead of doing something like this, it takes a track more like that, and that would mean quite a big difference in terms of the snow swath accumulation. And notice that we see the cold air phasing together with a moisture buoyant air mass. Lots of heavy snow developing into Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio, Kentucky. Still seeing snow out of this, and this thing just wraps around for a few days and would definitely bring some chilly temperatures. And after that, the models have been all over the place with this storm. What's to come after that storm is a big unknown. Let's take a glance at some other models. We do have more models. The Canadian model, for example. This is a relatively good model. It does usually better with systems that are further on the east coast, further towards the east. So with this system, that would work pretty well. Notice we have that first system. It pulls away. Again, Thanksgiving looking dry, excluding the coastal areas, the northeast and the southeast, maybe a few showers. We start seeing the southern piece already starting to deliver rain across Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. As early as Friday, Black Friday, Saturday, we start seeing that northern piece of energy move into the United States. Really, this piece of energy, what it does is mainly acts as a area that brings down cold weather. It doesn't really bring down a lot of energy, but just that cold temperatures, and that allows for that snow to rain transition. Notice the Canadian taking more of what the GFS did. Very heavy snow across Pennsylvania, Ohio, Toronto, a lot of Canadian cities. I mean, this thing's a beast. Look at those winds, massive. This thing's a wind cyclone. Lots of precipitation, and of course, this thing spins for a while. Cold air, pretty abundant, especially as you move towards the south. You could see more of a contrasting anomaly. Let's take a glance at the total snowfall. Look at this. A relatively similar area to what the latest model of the GFS is showing. But again, it has had a trend towards the west. Notice Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, into portions of New York, West Virginia, lots of snow. Southern Canada getting slammed by this. Total accumulated precipitation, also a lot of rain. I mean, that's going to be the second thing. A lot of rainfall across these locations. The northeast, some locations picking up 2 to 4 inches from one system. If we were to take a glance at, not the the high resolution models, don't show nothing, I'm pretty sure, because they only show that southern piece and a northern piece, but they don't show any phasing yet, the longest ones. So I want to show you the GFS parallel. This one is the oldest out of all the models I just showed you in terms of its data. It is at this point 18 hours old, but notice it's it still has kind of that system developing, even though it's at around this stage as of right now. But this continues to move off. It moves away, right, all good. We see the southern piece dwelling across the south, and northern piece a bit further to the north, so maybe a bit lack of cold air. And we definitely see this storm slide, kind of more of a slider rather than a north to south system. It really does deliver a bit of snow into Ohio and again Canada, Pennsylvania. But this model is the oldest, and it has probably the least accurate information, but we can't just completely disregard it. And then notice, generally the trend is to keep big storms activity going on. If I were to show you, for example, the Canadian, I said that there was a westward trend. This was the one at midnight a couple days ago, or really tonight at midnight, and then the one I just showed you prior was the one at noon today. So you can see this one was a bit further to the east. Really not much of a difference. If you were to label the track right there across New York, I mean, a bit further of a trend. This one just curls more, kind of takes that like comma shape, versus the first one doesn't. The 12Z Monday track showed it further to the west for sure, and then developing almost like a second low pressure. A lot of differences, and unfortunately we'll just have to wait and see. I hate saying that, but that seems the most reasonable. But if you live anywhere across the Midwest, Great Lakes, even into portions of the South, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, and even again the Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Virginia, West Virginia, Michigan, Wisconsin, UP, Illinois, a lot of these states, get prepared. You may be in for some snow, and of course southern Canada also under the gun, depending on this exact track. You may be in for some snow, maybe even some significant snow. We'll just have to wait and see. As of now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.